All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live and we are back with another episode of the book study, Fall of America by the Honorable, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, chapter 50 to 53. And I am with my illustrious co-host, Queen Maya. Peace and blessings, sis. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Yep, I am fired up and ready to go.
That's good. Thank you for having me back. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. And we're going to do chapters 50 to 53 today.
Yes, ma'am.
We are in sync again. Based upon what just a little bit that I skimmed, I think we are right kind of where we need to be in regards to some of his teachings. And I'm excited because at least
Definitely.
I know the universe is listening, watching, in control, and all we can do is just watch it unfold.
Definitely, definitely. All right, I'm ready to go when you are.
All right, so let me. I was reading. Let me get back on 50. So chapter 50, fire fed with fuel is the title of chapter 50. Fire fed with fuel. The subject of this chapter is taken from the Holy Quran, chapter 85, verse 5. We do not hope for peace as long as we add to the war that which serves as fuel to a fire. Did I read that right? We do not hope for peace as long as we add to the war that which serves as fuel to a fire. The fire cannot go out as long as we keep it burning by adding more fuel. A dying, burning fire is increased when more fuel is thrown into it. There are a lot of people who are so anxious for peace so that they can return to committing that which they lack in love, idling, sport, and play. The world that we live in desires, first of all, to hide the truth, to keep the black man who is blind, deaf, and dumb by the scientific technology of the white race, so that the white race can continue to carry on the same deceiving and wickedness that they have been practicing. How can we expect peace where the method used to bring about peace is the same method that started the war? Instead of finding a right solution and then practicing the right solution. And I say these things for the sake of my own black people, for they are so ignorant to the knowledge of the truth of the time in which we are living. What they would like to do cannot be done, for the time to even continue to do what you are doing is up. We must remember again the prediction of the Bible. It has foretold these times. If we understand the Bible, it most certainly teaches us that there is no peace for the wicked. There is no people who preach such a thing as peace and as being true followers of the prophet Jesus as much as the white Christians do. Let me read. I got to read that again because my eyes are crossing. I don't know why. And I don't even have cross eyes, so my eyes like all over the place. But it says, there is no people who preach such a thing as peace and as being true followers of the prophet Jesus as much as the white Christians do. Day and night, the airwaves are full of their preaching. To hear them, you would think that they are the prophets Moses and Aaron. As the words of the Jesus put it, they sat in Moses' seat. The white Christians are great deceivers. The Pope of Rome cannot bring peace to the Christian church, for he is not enjoying peace himself. I want to touch on paragraph. I want to touch on what the paragraph that he talks about. He said, how can we expect peace? That's paragraph 5. How can we expect peace where the method used to bring about peace is the same method that started the war? And instead of finding a right solution and then practicing the right solution. When you hear that, what's the first thing you think of?
The first thing I think of is
Yeah.
Israel and Iran.
Me too. That's the first thing because I am so sick of hearing about peace in the Middle East. Peace in the Middle
Mhm.
East. How can there be peace in the Middle East when they're not trying to do what is right?
Exactly.
There
Mhm.
can be no peace because
Mhm.
the right solution. So many people, and I thought about Helen Thomas. What was her position with? Was she was a White House reporter or?
Yeah, she was the White House correspondent.
Oh, so she did work for the United States government.
No, mm-mm.
She
She was
didn't.
White House. She worked for the news agency, but her title was White House correspondent.
So,
Hmm.
and remember when somebody interviewed her and they asked her a question about,
Hmm.
Israel, and she was like, they need to go back home.
Hmm.
They need to go back to Poland and Germany. They need to get out and get
Hmm.
out. And was she fired or did she resign
She got fired.
for telling the truth?
Hmm.
For telling the truth.
Yep.
You know, I don't know how true this is, but I did see some information online where you have these Israelis, they're trying to get United States citizens arrested if we speak out against them. Have you
Hmm.
seen that or heard
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I heard that they tried to pass a law and almost did in the Congress where this conversation that we're having, if we talk more on Israel and Palestine, and we don't talk on Israel in a good way, we could have been arrested
Mm-hmm.
for anti-Semitism. But the other Republicans stepped up and said, no, we're not going to do that because that's taking away Americans' right to free speech. They almost had that shit passed, though.
Who in the hell was bold enough to bring that to the floor of Congress and actually so did somebody in the House actually put that on the floor?
Yes, yes.
Bold enough to actually put some shit like that on the floor, going completely against the United States Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That person right there should have been relieved of their duties.
Exactly.
Because your first job is to uphold the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep. Yep.
And
So
Elijah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to just say it came very close to passing, very, very close to passing. But it was a few of the Republicans that was enough to say no. And, the one that Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Mm-hmm.
he was one of them who stood up and said no.
Yeah, she giving them hell.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's been giving them hell.
Mm-hmm.
That's when, that's sad to
Very,
think that
very.
someone would even contemplate that. When
Mm-hmm.
we all know it's true.
Exactly. Yep.
So Elijah Muhammad says, so who is that people? Who is that people then that the Bible prophesies of in the book of Isaiah that he will extend peace to them like rivers? Surely it cannot be the present Christian white race, for they are the ones who are breaking the peace. Fire fed with fuel. Leaving your own home and country, you go to another man's home and country to make trouble for that people and then accuse that people of being the troublemaker. It is the attacker who is guilty of that which follows the attack. And I say to you, Black people, you can get away from that old misunderstanding of the time. You are not living in a time in which you may be expecting a settlement of the war that will give you what you have always been used to: sport and play and foolishness. Actually, now is the time that you and I should be wise enough to understand that we should think for self and do for self. If you do not know how to do for self, you should follow the man to whom Allah has given that knowledge to teach you how to do for self. With the oceans filled with the fleets of the white Christians and the skies clouded with their death dealing planes over other people's territory, could you tell them that they should submit to you for peace? If you are able to force them to their knees or to destroy them, then I say yes. If that was the situation, then I would say that they should submit and let you triumph. But you cannot force them to their knees. They have been preparing for a war like this for nearly a century. Or rather, I should say, they have been preparing and working faithfully for a half a century to entertain the attacker with the same type of weapon and better weapons than the weapons you are attacking them with. If you resort to worse weapons, they have worse weapons also. So we are in a time when argument to the contrary of peace is like heaping fuel on a fire. It keeps it burning. We are living in an evil time. And I believe, and maybe many hundreds of thousands believe as I do, that the president of the United States of America had good intentions toward the citizens of America when he took over the presidency, but the time is against him. For the past 4,000 years and more, Allah has already given the prophecy through the mouth of his prophets of the doom of the wicked. And now is the time, and we cannot do anything but take it. And it is dangerous to add fuel to an unwanted fire. The fire is the war.
Mm, mm, mm.
What you think about that? Because I'm drawing blanks.
Mm. Well, it definitely describes the time that we are in right now, where war is right there on our doorstep. And, it just reminds me of what Don Rumsfeld said, because he just backed up everything the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. He said, there's a few words you're not going to ever hear me say. You're never going to hear me say that we're fighting for just and peace. He said, because there's never going to be peace in this world, and there's nothing just in this world. And he was at that time the over the Department of Defense. So he's over the military, and he's saying that there's not going to be any peace.
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be any peace, and there's not going to be anything just, because there is nothing just in this world. So that means that there's going to be war, and it's going to be more war, and it's going to be more war, and it's going to continue to burn. It's going to continue to burn. And America is not going to be saying, we want peace. They're going to be saying, we're going to drop some more bombs on your ass. Mm-hmm. Because that's what America does. And there has been centuries of miscalculations when it comes to fighting America. When the Japanese decided to attack America, not because they had nothing better to do, but America was fucking with their oil supply and trying to do everything that they could do to destroy Japan. Mm-hmm. And at that time, America was not a part of World War II. She hadn't joined yet. But the Japanese took a calculation that they're thinking that we can hit America with some hard damage and America won't be able to come back from it. Well, they calculated wrong, because they did hit Pearl Harbor. America knew they were coming, but America wanted a reason that they can take before the American people and say, this is why we're going to war. Now, mind you that JFK was not JFK, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the president at that time. And so, he was saying, well, we done did World War I. We ain't going back to war. We're going to be out of it. But he knew what was going on. And when the Japanese attacked, they miscalculated, because they thought that attack was going to be the attack that would make America run for cover, when it wasn't. It wasn't going to make America. You just smacked them on the face. You didn't destroy them. You didn't take America to the pit of destruction. Only thing they did was smack them. And from that smack, America said, okay, we're gonna bomb them back. But how are we going to bomb them back when we don't have planes that can fly from this land all the way over to there? And then this is how they came up with the idea to land planes on the ships and take planes off from the ships. So because they were hit by the Japanese, this forced them to come up with a new method of war so that they can get their planes in the air. Because they learned from World War I whoever controls the air wins the war. So they went and they did that. And at the same time, America is working on this, nuclear bomb. And so they thought that they were going to be able to take America out of the fight when the only thing they did was smack her, piss her off to make her get even in more of the fight, which would eventually lead to them being hit with 2 atomic bombs. So, there's been a mistake in calculation when it comes to dealing with America. If you're going to hit America, you got to hit the shit out of her. You got to make her drop to her knees, because if you just smack her or push her, when she responds, you ain't going to like it. And so it's this serious miscalculation that has to stop. And, even as we were talking earlier today through text about the Montgomery bus boycott, even that was a miscalculation, because they thought, well, we will withdraw our money and then that will bring them to their knees. No, it didn't. It didn't bring them to their knees. Yeah, you hurt them with money, but their hatred for you was not going to break. So they didn't give a damn if they went belly up. They were still going to hate you, and you still were not going to ride up front in their buses. And then our Dr. King and all of those who went them didn't even present them with a plan of saying, hey, we want Black people to ride the front of the bus, not that we got to go straight to the back of the bus. He starts off with, okay, we'll go to the back of the bus, we'll start there. But when we start to fill up, if we got to sit up front, then we just got to sit up front because there ain't no other seats. And that's a weak argument. That's a weak presentation that you're putting to somebody who hates your guts. So the miscalculation of who we're dealing with, it seems to continue to happen, no matter whether it's the people on foreign shores or whether it's us over here on American shore. We have a miscalculation when we're dealing with our enemy. We don't deal with them in the manner that we should. We deal with them in a manner of thinking that, okay, they're human beings. They have feelings and thoughts just like we do. So if we can present them with a moral argument, they will back down. There is no moral argument we can present to them. So we have to hit them exactly how they are. It's just that simple. If you're going to hit them, you better hit them hard and you better bring them to their knees. It's just that simple. There is no dilly-dallying with them. There is no playing nice with them. Even, it even translates down into city and local government. We had a strike here in Philadelphia where the garbage people stopped, for 8 whole days. Trash is piling up there in the street. And, the strike is over, but the leader of the strike, the union guy was out there talking unapologetically, this, that, and the other thing, and they lost. The agreement that they signed was the same agreement that the mayor put on the table the first time.
So you're saying the strike is over, but they accepted the same agreement that was previously presented to them.
Exactly.
Now, it wasn't just the I was surprised to learn it wasn't just the garbage collection team. They say 9,000 city workers, to the point where dead bodies were stacking up in the goddamn morgue.
No, this is the 911, the people that work the call center, the water department, and some people in the dead body parts. But those 3 were regulated to return to work by the courts. So they didn't do no sitting out, because the courts told them, you take your ass back to work or you go in jail. So they went back to work. The only people that didn't get a court order was the garbage people.
Okay.
But then when the mayor said, well, we're going to have replacement workers. Then the union dude run to the seat and say, okay, let's negotiate. Let's talk about it. because he knew that meant they about to Ronald Reagan your ass, like Ronald Reagan did them federal air traffic controllers when they went on strike. He fired every last one of them
And
and
just
brought
replace
new
them.
people in. Yep.
God
And
damn.
so that was about to happen right here. And so, the news people asked him, well, what did your people get out of the negotiation? A job. A job. That was his answer. But y'all had a job before you took them on strike. But what the miscalculation that they made was, one, nobody is willing to go to jail for a job.
Mm-hmm.
They're not willing to do that. Two, you can't pay the people. Paying the union members that's on strike $200 a week is not going to compensate for a whole check that they're missing. So even that gets shorter. If you're going to strike against quote unquote power, the city, you better bring it to its knees.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the 911 workers, the water department workers, they needed to say, to hell with the court order, I'm not going, take me to jail.
Mm.
Then now you done put a different pressure on because people are willing to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't gonna just find people to train them up and do 911 just like that. It's gonna take a period of time. But you're bringing the city to its knees with the 911. You're bringing the city to the knees with the water department. You're bringing the city to its knees with the sanitation department. Now the mayor's in a situation where she has to give you something that's gonna make you happy. See, people don't want to take it to where it has to go in order to defeat them. You got to take it to them till they get to that point where they say, peace, peace. I don't want to, I give up.
Right.
But they don't want to do that. And even the Quran tells us, when you fight them, you kill them. You do not stop fighting them until they cry for peace. When they cry for peace, that they're tired of getting their asses whooped, then they can come to the table. Then you give them what the orders look like to establish peace.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
So the United States of America, in regards to their relationship with China, they're not allies, correct?
Correct.
So they're not enemies exactly either.
Correct.
So what's the middle ground? What is the term to identify? Because if you're not my ally, you're not my enemy, then what are you?
Your frenemy.
Okay, so China is a frenemy to the United States. And my question is this, and this is something that I've been thinking about for quite some time. Why does the United States of America continue to allow Chinese imports if we have this tumultuous, touchy relationship with China?
Because China buys so much of American products. And China has a lot of American debt. So, they underwrite what is being, the American budget. They really the ones that's carrying the debt load. And, if they came to present America and said, hey, give me what you owe me, America don't have it to give. So then now you got a bigger situation on your hand. So that's why when Trump was saying we're going to hit them with 25% tariffs and the Chinese fired back, well, we're going to hit you with 50% tariffs. Let them know that whatever you do to us, we're going to do it back to you, and we're going to do it worse to you. And China knew America could not withstand that. There was no way in the world America could just eat that up and it'd be okay. So that's why after all that rebel rousing Trump did, you see at the end of the day, that shit didn't happen because he knew that the effects that would happen on America, the American people ain't going for it. They're not trying to eat that. And so it did not happen. When I saw him take away cell phones and computers and say that they're not putting no tariff on those type of things, cell phones, computers, laptops, they're not putting no tariffs on that, I knew Trump blinked. I knew he blinked because, we get that kind of those things, China, Asia, we get those things from them. So Trump blinked in a big way because somebody is telling him, we're not going to win no tariff war with China. You may win it with damn Canada or Britain, but you ain't going to win no tariff war with China.
But
It's just not going to work.
But this to me, it doesn't make any sense because so you're saying the United States of America borrows money from China.
Yes.
We import their products.
Yes.
They own a lot of land in the United States of America. They allow their immigrants to come here and have residency, go to school, work, study, vacation. But China, they're allies to Iran. I don't understand how I'm supposed to look at this.
Because America has backed herself up in the corner where at the end of the day, she really don't have another stronghold to really defeat China. China military is bigger than America's military. They've been arguing with China over the Red Sea because China has been putting islands out there in the Red Sea and saying, well, this is our shit. When at first it was international waters, now it's China waters. And nobody can make them stop because they're just that good at what they do. So you're actually seeing the challenge for hegemony, the challenge for superiority. That's why they came up with BRICS versus the US. And so BRICS is even getting more and more, but even Vietnam now has cited to be a BRICS country. So this thing that America has used as a weapon called sanctions to any and every country that operates in the American dollar, now is starting to backfire because oil used to be sold only in American dollars. Now they're talking about being able to use BRICS dollars to purchase oil. That's going to hurt America. And it's easy for America to take out one country, but you can't go and take out China, Russia, South America, fucking India, Vietnam. You just can't take all of these countries out now because in reality, BRICS has declared war on America because they tired of taking America's shit. So, from a financial perspective, America is burning, and America is burning very, very fast, very, very fast. If you look at what the American dollar used to be able to spend and buy, you don't have that strength no more. You just don't have it. It's not there. Using our little dollars here and there to try to keep up with the price of gold, it's just not there. So America is in serious trouble financially. America is in serious trouble even militarily. So on one of these stages, there will be a blink because you can't just keep holding both up, trying to make it seem that it's not falling when the reality is it is falling.
Okay, so watch this. Donald Muhammad said, China is a trade partner that buys our debt and produces cheap products to increase corporate profits of American companies such as Walmart, for example. Our nation is still running because China buys our debt. And then he just said, China is reducing the amount of American debt it purchases, and you can see the results. American economy is collapsing as we speak. Okay, so watch this. So my question is this. Wouldn't it be a good strategy for China to say to the United States, stop giving Israel money to purchase weapons, and if you don't, we're going to pull back and help your economy collapse. You're going to cause it to collapse. The more you give Israel, the more we're going to come against you and do whatever within our power to stop importing goods, to stop doing this, doing that, whatever the case may be, until you let up off of the Palestinians, or the Palestinians, the Iranians. So doesn't China have like some type of leg to say, stop America, or we'll come against you?
Yeah, they do. They do.
So why don't they?
Because they don't want to hurt as well. So if they can maneuver in a way that it doesn't hurt them at all, then that's the way they're going to do. And what they decided to do was to help Iran by giving them military assistance, giving them weapons. And
This
that's what
some
they've done.
bullshit. China
That's
is
what they've
giving
done.
Iran weapons, but they also this some dumb shit. This shit gotta stop. Cause I don't fuck with my enemies. I don't fuck with them, talk to them, call them, text message them. I don't want shit from you. You my enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Maurice, think about how this shit sound.
Mm-hmm.
China is a frenemy to the United States, but China is
Mm-hmm.
an ally to Iran. The United States is a goddamn ally to Israel. Israel is going against Palestine and Iran, but like this shit is weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that dance on the international level, because nobody, in honesty, nobody wants to hurt. Nobody wants to have that feeling brung home to their people, whether it's a financial hurt, whether it's a military hurt. Nobody wants to hurt. But everybody should be telling their people, look, this shit is just going to happen. It is just going to happen one way or another. Because Trump even said that here. He said, look, I know that, we don't want to make certain sacrifices where, you can't buy this or you can't buy that. But shit, we're going to have to make sacrifices. I mean, he said it very plain, letting the American people know, if they're paying attention, that, yeah, shit about to get expensive. Some shit you ain't going to be able to afford no more. Some shit you ain't going to be able to find, because we got to go through what we got to go through.
And a lot of this shit really is Chinese trash. A lot of cheap shit that come over here that we don't need.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But when another country, really got you by the balls, and their military is bigger than yours, and you don't have a nuclear weapon that you can use as, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to do this to you, because they can say, oh, we're going to do it to you first. So on that cancel each other out. But you can go ahead and destroy Libya, which was trying to get oil put on the gold standard. You can destroy that country because they made a mistake and gave up their nuclear weapons, which they should have never done.
Never
Done. They did it, and that's what caused them. That was their whole card. That was the thing that kept them safe. But when they gave that shit up, that became their deathbed.
So so we're gonna move on to chapter 51. But Donald said it is in China's interest to draw down the amount of debt it purchases in a methodical way that allows it to reinvest in places like Africa. Now, that was very interesting to me, because if China begins to invest in Africa, which in my opinion is really not a good thing, because these Chinese, they go all over the world building and, building up the infrastructure and things of that nature. And they even bring their own workers. They brought hundreds of Chinese men into Jamaica. They already built the Jamaican National Road. Jamaicans did not assist in the building of their national highway. Not only did they not assist in the building of the highway, but they don't even profit from the man. We pay $75 to go from Portmore, Greater Portmore to Ocho Rios. I think that was an hour, no, maybe like 2 hours or so. And so when we went through the toll, that was like 35. And then to come back, it was 40. That's a lot of money. We paid like 75 Jamaican dollars just to take their highway. And I was with a police officer. A police officer was driving us. He was like, I don't know how the fuck these Jamaicans do it or where they're getting the money from. He said, because some of these people, they do this shit 2-3 times a day. But nevertheless, the reason why I'm mentioning that is because if China invests in Africa, the United States is going to have a problem with that. They're going to pull some shit out they had and say, oh, well, Africa is the enemy and they got nuclear weapons and they got terror. They just pull anything out their ass whenever we begin to prosper. And it's really not in the best interest of Africa to have China come, because they really don't like us, fuck with us, care about us, really support us anyway. For
Mm-hmm.
their financial benefit, they may, support us. But in terms of really seeing us rise and build our communities and have something of our own, they don't, because they bring their workers there, and those workers be having sex with the local women, leaving all kind of bastards everywhere all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Literally,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
Yep. Yep.
No respect. They just sleeping with these damn women, leaving all these goddamn children, and getting jobs, getting money, and going their ass on back to China.
Mm-hmm.
So we screwed no matter how you fucking you play the cards. Because
It
where
really
are we in all of this?
at the children's play table. That's where we are in all this. Because at this point, um, the people in Africa, our people over there, should know how to build roads. They should know how to
Exactly.
build electric plants. They should know how to do the shit. And they got enough of their people in schools in these colleges. If you don't know how to build a road by now, something's really sad. So they should be building their own roads. They should be building their own power plants. They should be doing all these things themselves, and they're not.
They're
And
not.
that's a big problem.
They're not. I saw that with my own eyes. Them Chinese was up in there deep working.
Mm,
And them goddamn Jamaican men were just sitting there looking at them clapping, talking shit. And I'm sitting there like, you can't be serious.
mm.
You let these grown ass men come from China and build a road in your country, and not only roads, but they're building other institutions as well. Why y'all know y'all need a goddamn job?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I blame government too.
Almost
I blame
definitely.
government too. So this is really sad.
Mm-hmm.
But this is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we on chapter 51.
Okay.
Men's hearts failing fear. How true the prophecy of Jesus in Luke 21, verses 25 through 26 concerning the present time. We bear witness that the sea and waves are roaring, and that fear is now covering the nations, as shown by the unusual heart failure that is now occurring among men. These are signs of the end of the present world. The sea and ocean are heaving up tidal waves to unimaginable heights that man has never witnessed before on earth. This is another plague that is upon the wicked. Since the Holy Quran teaches that the judgment would be such that the earth itself would act as though a revelation had been revealed to it because of its perfect obedience to the law of Allah on that day, Allah will use the power that is in the earth and in the sea against the world of evil. The white race think that they have control of the power of the earth, sea, and air. It was prophesied that for a time they would subdue and have the use of the power of the sea and ocean until he comes, whose right it is to rule. The heavens and the earth belong to Allah. Now it is his time to rule. There is much prophecy concerning the terribleness of the judgment of the wicked. The power that is in the water is in the hand of Allah to use it against whom he pleases. The earth, wind, rain, snow, and ice and earthquakes are controlled by Allah. It is a fearful sight to see the display of his power with the forces of nature bowing and submitting to his will. I should warn you that this is now coming into action against the Western world. There will be the destruction of whole fleets at sea, and those which are capable of lying on the ocean and sea bottom will be destroyed. The die is set with the foolish people who, like in the time of Noah, could not see the sign of the rain, bringing on the flood. Even after the clouds began to darken the sky, they did not see the oncoming rain until it actually started to rain. You already know what I thought of,
Yeah, exactly.
because they
Mm,
didn't see it until it was too late.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
now in Texas, with these Texas floods, now here comes the after effects of, oh, well, they didn't have the alarm system. They didn't have we warned you, but you didn't listen. You know, all the shit that come after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And the death toll is increasing. And I do want to show, can I show something right quick?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the image that's coming out in the news to show the faces of the people who are deceased and missing. And I said on my channel, my anger won't let me cry for a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
I feel no sorrow for these. See, these are the descendants of the settlers who
Mm-hmm.
fought literally to annex Texas because Mexico said slavery is done. It's
Mm-hmm.
prohibited here. We don't want it here anymore. We want freedmen to have a life. We want them to have access to our Constitution. When they put their feet on Mexican soil, they are free immediately. They have access to education, free speech, the right to bear arms. They're gonna work. You understand that they're not subjected to these Jim Crow laws and black codes like in America. It's abolished. And what did white Americans do who settled into the territory, Texas territory? Fuck that. We want slaves. We don't want to hear that shit. What you talking about? We depend on slave labor. So the people that we're looking at, they probably more than likely, see, they look like the settlers who fought for us to remain enslaved. And as soon as the United States annexed Texas, Texas became a slave state. And not only that, when Texas became a slave state, when it was abolished in the United States, them motherfuckers still didn't tell the slaves they was free.
Exactly.
This would have been the mister, the damn master. This would have been the master, the mistress, the child that our children would have been passed down to as an inheritance. And cry for them. Because when I see them, I'm looking back in time at my oppressor.
Exactly.
And guess what? The children were at a Catholic camp, a Catholic summer camp. Still can't cry for them.
Nope.
I have no tears for them. My anger will not let me cry for these people.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of them that's missing. Not only that, but let me tell you how, because a lot of people who come to your study, we already know that you have some instigators that come on your channel every week and listen to the study and hate you with a passion.
Exactly.
But I said before, and I will say it again, the spirit of Elijah Muhammad, the spirit of the honorable Elijah Muhammad is alive and well, and he is very much into where we are in this book. And I'm going to tell you why. Earlier today, I was just looking at some shorts, and all of a sudden, a short from North Carolina came across my screen, and there was a guy who was saying, he's saying this, and I told you, I've been up in those mountains. He said, the people who are missing, we will never see them again. He said, there's no way. He said, there's no, I'm paraphrasing, but there's no way in hell that we will. He said, we can't even get through all this shit to try to see if we could find some of the bodies. Now watch, we're not hearing about them white people and them people that, what, because that's because every time I go up in the mountains, I typically be the only black person there, me and my family when we go. But there are a few black people here and there, but it's few and far in between. It's predominantly white community. And basically, the white man was saying, there's no goddamn way that we can get up under all this rubble to get to the people who lost their lives in the North Carolina flood. He said, it's just no way. By the time he get there, they're going to be what? Reduced to ashes or some shit? Gonna find bones.
Yep.
You're gonna have to do some DNA testing to determine who these people are. But lately they haven't been winning. They have not been winning with nature.
Nope.
And I said to myself, you know, it was confirmation for me that it's okay for me not to cry and feel sorry for these people, because they were very nasty to us.
Exactly.
They knew. It was one particular lady. I don't know her name, but I heard her story many years ago. She was a black woman. She was a slave, and she was out there out west. I'm assuming it was out in Texas. It may not have been Texas, but it was definitely out west. And you know, it took time for information to go out west because communication was not advanced then as it is now. And so this slave was up in the attic. She would always sneak up into the attic to listen to what white people were saying. And she would take that information and go, you know, that the grapevine, and go share that information with other slaves to keep them abreast of what was going on, you know, on the plantation.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
news the slave masters were discussing that the not only I don't know if it was the Emancipation Proclamation that they were discussing, or probably the 13th Amendment, but whatever they were discussing, it was the fact that, you know, the enslaved people were now free to go, your ass free. And when she heard that, she got so excited that she fell through the goddamn attic down to the floor. And so her slave masters were like, oh shit, we can't let her go and tell the other slaves they free. That's gonna, you know, that's gonna be a problem. And as she was running, I was free. They say she was saying, I'm free, I'm free, we free. They were shooting at her, literally shooting at her. They
Mm.
they could have hit our sister in the neck, the head, the back, killed her, crippled her, paralyzed her, all because what she had a right to, they were denying. So I feel no kind of way for these people.
Nope, none at all.
Not
None
none
at
at
all.
all.
Mm-mm. Nope. They got what they earned.
Yeah, he
It's
say
just,
they didn't even see the oncoming rain until it actually started to rain.
mm-hmm.
Those floods.
Exactly.
It's their time now.
Yep.
It's their time. So he says, so it is with America. They pay no attention to the signs of the judgment that is now taking place. As the Bible prophesied in Revelation chapter 16, verse 9, they blaspheme the name of God, which hath power over these plagues. How many in America and the city of Chicago disbelieve and even mock and swear at the name of Allah, who has power over the forces of nature on land, sea, and air?
Mm.
Allah is now doing it. He said, Allah is now doing as it is prophesied in the Holy Quran, chapter 13, verse 41, visiting the land, curtailing it of its sides. The foolish still are foolish until he is cast into a narrow place and cannot turn to the right or left. As it was with the donkey that Balaam was riding, he came to a narrow place between two walls. He could not turn around. He had to stop face to face with the angel or be destroyed. So what do you think about them playing with these machines that's affecting the weather? What do you think about that?
Well, and you're talking about America's HARP system that can change the weather.
Well, China has a system too that can make it rain. They say when
Mm-hmm.
what does China call their president? A prime minister?
Mm-hmm.
So when their prime minister gives a public speech, they say he'll make it rain to make the air appear clean. And because you know that goddamn air and the air quality in China is horrible. So
Mm.
he has a way to make it rain to clean the air so that when he gives a speech, it looks presentable. So
Right.
these countries, they are messing with the weather.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what you think about that?
Well, I think it's going to aid them in their destruction. We
Wow.
can see when I think it was the UAE, United Arab Emirates, when they had their weather machine trying to get rain, and you see the damage that they got. They got flooding. And so here you are trying to act as if you're God, that you now can make it rain. You now can do hail, rain, snow, and earthquakes. Well, the real God will show you exactly what you can do. and show you exactly what he can do. And you're not going to get away with it. You're not going to like it. You're just not. They all want to be able to say that I am God, and they're not. And they'll pay for it. They will pay for it 1,000%.
I think I think that too. They have this way of putting themselves above God.
Mm-hmm.
When I travel, especially when I'm always in places where there's an ocean, how close they build condominiums
Mm.
to the shore. I've been in places where people's backyard, like you take maybe 20 steps and your ass is in the damn ocean. I'm like, who would build
Mm.
a goddamn house so close to the ocean?
Right.
What idiot?
Mm. Mm-mm.
Did you see? Remember when what was that? I don't know, but the Palisades, what California was on fire?
Mm-hmm.
They were showing some drone footage of the area. And this particular area, all the houses that were on the coast, they were crispy. They were burnt down to a crisp. But they were right on the damn shore. And
Mm-mm.
I've been places where the public can't even go to the beach because it's considered private property. And I'm
Mm.
like, how the fuck is the damn shoreline private property? The ocean? You mean to tell me y'all got the dibs on that too?
Mm-mm.
They want to own and control everything,
Mm-hmm.
even the national forest.
Exactly.
They want to own that too, talking about preservation areas. Thank goodness they're preserving these areas, but nevertheless, like they play God. And that's why a lot of their condominiums are sinking, literally. They're sinking, collapsing. You can't get insurance. When they go to do inspections, they have people, you got to get out on a drop of a dime within 24 hours because if you stay, you may be under rubble.
Mm-hmm.
They keep on playing God.
Exactly. Exactly.
You can't,
Mm.
you can't go but so long.
Mm-mm.
And you know, Robert Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken, I think they put a stop now on chemtrails. They're not allowed to do any more chemtrails. Have you heard about that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because they were doing it. Now I've been watching chemtrails for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of footage. I probably deleted it now because I don't feel like paying a lot of money to have thousands and thousands of pictures and videos in my phone. But it got to a point in my area, they were doing like 5 a week. They
Oh
would
my
do like
God.
5 trails a week or more. Yeah.
Mm. Mm-mm.
And I heard a long time ago, like I know now when the chemtrails come, I pretty much know how to time when it's going to rain. And I'm talking about, I got just caught in, and as a matter of fact, I'm still seeing chemtrails in my neighborhood. Literally, I am. So if they
Mm.
stopped it, they haven't stopped it in my neighborhood. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I recall now, I saw some chemtrails when I was out to the beach over the weekend, and I got caught in a storm. I've never been in a storm like that in my life. It was bad.
Mm.
It was nothing to do but just walking until you can get to a safe place. And we
Wow.
was walking over shit. I was like, I don't even know if I should walk here because what if it's a fall off or a ditch or something? We just had to. It was really,
Mm.
really bad. So if they have prohibited chemtrails, I'm here to tell you, I'm still seeing them.
Mm. Mm-mm. Wow. Well, this is one thing that we'll see exactly what Kennedy plans to do if they're violating his orders that these things are supposed to stop. We'll see whether they got any backbone in it or not.
What the fuck is what is the purpose of chemtrails anyway?
I have the foggiest idea. I don't know.
That's a very good question.
Hmm. I don't even know. That is a very good question.
Okay, so we're at paragraph 12.
Mm-hmm.
So Allah is now doing as it is prophesied. The Holy Quran, chapter 13, verse 41. I think I did this, but he says he's visiting the land, curtailing it of its size, and the foolish still are foolish until he is cast into a narrow place and cannot turn to the right or left, as it was with the donkey that Balaam was riding. He came to a narrow place between two walls. He could not turn around. He had to stop face to face with the angel or be destroyed. Let it be remembered that Allah came forth for the redemption to deliver the American black people from their tormentors. Whether we like it or not, He will do this. This is the work of Allah, which is in effect. Let America use the history of the fall and destruction of ancient Egypt and her pharaohs. Let their histories serve as a warning. They all were brought to naught for their evil done to a people whom Allah has chosen for an example of these last days. The lost found black slaves and their slave masters. The Holy Quran, chapter 30, verse 41, is perfectly true in its prediction of a present day nation's sea and land power. Corruption has appeared in the land and the sea on account of that which men's hands have wrought. The most grave mistake that the black man is making today is his trying to hold on to the belief in the return of Jesus.
Mm.
He lived and preached the saving of the white man's world. Elijah Muhammad said this is false. Jesus did not preach this. See the Bible. What's JN? What's that?
JN.
Yeah, what book is JN?
I don't even
I
know.
don't even know. But see, Bible said JN chapter 17, verse 9. Jesus had few disciples. Jesus also cursed the Jews, not to mention that he was trying to save them or the Caucasian people. Wait a minute. So I guess we'll finish this and go back to it. So they are teaching the technology that the white man uses to deceive the black man. They do this so that our people would not understand that Jesus declared himself against the world of the Caucasian race. And that's in the Bible, the book of JN. I don't know what that book is.
John is the book of
John,
John.
okay, the in the book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. He also declared that the word of truth had no place in this white race of people. They have proved this to be the truth by their mistreatment of you and me. The white race has never worshipped any prophet before or after Jesus as a divine man of Allah. It is against their very nature to do this, and that is why they kill all of the prophets they are able to kill. They deceive the people against believing in the prophets of Allah, for they were made in their nature to be the enemy of God and his representatives. Before the time is out, they will be forced into submission to the will of Allah, and this will not be done for the purpose of converting the white race. Allah will force them into submission to prove that He is able to make everything bow to Him in submission. So let's pause for a minute. So earlier today, I was thinking about this very same thing that Elijah Muhammad is talking about because Christians are waiting for a savior. They're waiting for Jesus to return. I'm so sick of reading, like when I read through different comments on YouTube or whatever the case may be, and some people standing on the street corner holding signs. I'm sick of looking at and see and hearing people say Jesus is coming soon. And just
Mm.
recently, I replied to somebody. I said, "Girl, y'all been saying that for over 2,000 years. Jesus coming soon. Like, what are you talking about? How soon is soon?" And so my question is this: Christians are waiting for the return of Jesus. What
Hmm.
are the Muslims waiting for? Are they waiting for the return? Because when they say the will, isn't that the same, like in some regard, that they're waiting for a savior as well? Or do I have that wrong?
No, you have that wrong. The Muslim world is waiting for the Mahdi.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we believe that the Mahdi has already come, which is Master Farad Muhammad. The will is the mother plane that is up above our heads 40 miles. The United States government has been letting out what their interaction has been with that will. So many different groups of people have seen it all over this world. The wheel is something that it is real. It is 40 miles up above us, um, moving around. Now, there, I believe the messenger said, and Brother Donald, you correct me if I'm wrong, that on each plane there's like 1,500 bombs on the planes that will be shot down, and the deeper the bomb goes, then it will raise a mountain just that height. So that thing, the wheel is a destructive force. And it's the force that will destroy America within 12 hours on the clock, within 12 hours. So that wheel that's up there is not something for us to be afraid of. It's something that's coming to do the fighting with us and for us.
So you said the Mahdi, Mahdi, correct?
Yes.
So what exactly is a Mahdi?
A Mahdi is a reformer. He is the one that comes to bring correction to the world. He is the one to put the world back, or our people back on the straight path. That's basically what he is. He's the teacher that comes to deliver.
And was that prophesied in the Quran that a Mahdi would come?
Yes.
Okay.
In the Quran, as well in the hadiths, which are the quote unquote sayings of Prophet Muhammad, that one would come.
And so when that one comes, there will be no Mahdi after Farad Muhammad, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he came to wake up. I'm just from what I've been learning in the fall of America and what I know from the nation. I'm just really trying to put it together. Okay, so the Mahdi you said the Mahdi was prophesied in the Quran, and he came pretty much to wake up the so-called African American Negro. Elijah Muhammad always says the lost found people, right? He came to wake us up. So, do you think so? Are we? Where are we now? Are we? Because I say we still sleep. I mean, some of us are waking up, but we still have a long way to go. So, how much more awakening do we need? Because a lot of our people, they just they lost.
Right. They are lost because they are still sleeping. They're still in that shallow grave. And so our job is to awaken them to the time and what must be done. Um, Now, in my personal thinking, that all of them is not going to wake up, but we don't know exactly when that 0 hour is coming. We just know that there is a 0 hour coming, but we don't know when exactly that is. So, whenever that 0 hour happens, and if they still sleep, then, that's going to be their outcome. They're going to, go 6 feet deep sleep.
And so before we move on now, what will activate the mother plane to jump into action?
It's supposed to be, if I am correct, and Brother Donald, again, you correct me if I go astray. But if they try to kill us, like try to just slaughter us wholesale, then that would make the mother plane go into action. If they try to just kill the minister wholesale, that would make it go into action as well.
We're gonna because I know that there's a chapter in this study. We're gonna definitely go into that. So, and that's coming up real soon. So,
Right.
that's gonna be, we talked about that, but definitely we'll touch on that more and go further into detail because I'm still trying to process all of this in my mind and it's really a lot to process because I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, the Christians waiting on something, the Muslims say it's something up there, and like, how do we process this information? Because like recently, it was I forgot what it was, but it was on YouTube, and I wish I remember what happened. But somebody commented to me, they said, no, I think I said, I forgot, Maurice. I'm sorry, but somebody commented to me and they said, this is not, God is not going to stop this. The only way this is going to stop is if the people stop it. And, that really resonated with me because there's so much going on in this world. And you have individuals who are waiting for someone to do something. And the reality is, we got to stop a lot of this shit that's going on.
Right.
We got to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
We got to really get actively engaged and get involved and get down and dirty and stop a lot of this shit that's going on and not wait for someone to do it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that these white people, they've done enough damage to us. Violence, the most
Mm-hmm.
vicious type. Like my mind with these books that I'm reading, I was in a very bad place earlier this week. And I just was like, I wish I could have found a way to turn my mind off. And there was no way to turn my mind off because the more I read, especially the books that I'm reading now, the 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 things that white people did to us. I keep saying they don't have a low point. And so if this wheel is up there 40 miles up and they know what the hell is going on, like, damn, how long is it going to take for you to spring into action and do what you got to do? How
Right.
much more? How much more that we got to take? We've been put on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
They put gasoline on us. But you're like really, like how much more do we have to take of this violence from these people before something happens?
That's a very, really, really good question. And I think that we as a people have to understand that the power to do something lies within us. It really already lies within us. We just have to be awakened to that understanding and be prepared to move. See, because this is the thing that I realize. As many guns black people have, legal or illegal, they ain't gonna kill no cracker. They not gonna shoot them. They'll shoot me or you, they'll shoot us. They ain't about to shoot no white folk. And until they get out of that mindset that white people represent God, that these are good white folks, then they'll continue to hold up the system. But when they are shown and they are seen as they are, and people can put the puzzle together so they can see the clear pictures, they'll know that the enemy is deserving of death. And they'll know and understand that it's their time and it is our time to bring it about. It's just that simple.
So what about the people like you and I when that mother plane springs into action? What about people like you and I? Because the destruction that you just mentioned is going to reach far and wide. What happens to people like you and I who are consciously aware of who we are? What
I,
happens to us?
I think we'll be saved. That's what happens to us. We'll be saved.
So that's just like the rapture thing in the Bible. No? Remember, because the Bible talks about some people being saved and other people dying
Mm-hmm.
when the shit go down. It's like, isn't that they sound like the same, just different religion, but the
Mm-hmm.
same believe.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the enemy, what they do, they'll take your beliefs, they'll take what you believe as an actual fact, and they'll carry it and run with it, and they'll rewrite it in a way that you can't even draw strength from it.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll run with it like it's something that they came up with. But it done diluted all the way down to it means nothing. It means nothing. So by the enemy taking what was ours and flipping it and turning it for it to be something that's useless, that we can't even draw strength from, then that is a good fighting tool that the enemy is using upon us. We just have to do the same work of trying to figure out how to defeat it.
Okay. Well, I'm here to learn more about the mother plane because I don't want to dismiss it, but
Exactly.
I don't want to dismiss it, but
Mm-hmm.
I do want to learn more about it before I say, okay, I believe that. Because right about now, I just don't. But just because I don't, it doesn't mean that it's not true. It's
Right.
just that I'm not there yet.
Right.
I'm just not there yet.
Exactly.
But I know his Elijah Muhammad's spirit is alive. But
Mm-hmm.
so far as from a will, I'm just not convinced yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we are on paragraph what?
We are on, I believe, paragraph
20?
21.
I think 20.
20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is in fulfillment to the prophecy in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 23. Unto me every knee shall bow, and every tongue shall swear. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 25, verse 32, and before him shall be gathered all nations. The Holy Quran has a similar prophecy that you shall see all nations kneeling before him. This includes everybody, regardless to their color. Everything in the universe obeys the natural law in which it was made subject to by Allah. On the coming of Allah, he now makes everything bow to him, whether you believe it or disbelieve. Holy Quran chapter 3 verse 82. It does not make a difference to him whether you are the devil or the righteous. All must bow in submission to the will of Allah on the judgment day. We are now living in the days of judgment. Black preachers, you will waste your time in leading yourself and those who you follow. And those who follow you to hell by holding on to Christianity. Let me read that
Mm.
again. He said, Black preachers, you will waste your time in leading yourself and those who follow you to hell by holding on to Christianity. The book of Revelations, chapter 19, verse 20. You cannot keep them in Christianity. Christianity was not the religion of Jesus, Moses, or any of the prophets who came before them. It would have been a farce on the part of Allah to have waited until just 2,000 years ago to give the right religion to the world of man. Allah gave man the right religion, Islam, in the beginning of his creation of the heavens and the earth, and Allah has not changed his religion. His religion is Islam, entire submission to his will. And that was chapter 51.
Perfect. 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 You know, so many times we find ourselves fighting against what is good for ourselves, to embrace something foreign, to embrace something that's not real, to embrace something that has no value because other people put value on it. And out of foolishness, because this is what we were taught, we follow it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing that really hurts us because our people have to understand that this Christianity that they came up with, one, their Jesus had nothing to do with it. He was not around, he was not there. This is something that was concocted. The Bible tells you that it was concocted. It was made up. Even if you study Paul, Paul talks about things opposite of Jesus. So there's times where Paul and Jesus go to button heads against each other and their messages that they bring. So, when you're dealing with a system of falsehood that you were born into, you were bred into, and you were taught to believe all of it, and you sat there and you ate it up, and now you have become that lie. You have become that lie that's not going to save anybody. And now you're propagating that lie that's still not going to save anybody, but it will cost people their lives. And, even though a lot of churches today are empty, are literally empty, but still that message goes on.
Mm-hmm.
That show a child who never went to church, who pictures that? And they say Jesus, but they ain't never been to church. Where they learn it from? Because it's everywhere around them. It's a total indoctrination, 1,000%, so that we don't separate from our enemy, because our enemy looks just like God. And if God loves them, then we have to love them.
Damn. Woo! It's bad when your enemy look like God. God damn.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
Yep.
But that's what they did. They showed him a picture of a white Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
When you saw that white Jesus and you saw that white slave master,
Mm-hmm.
you were told to obey. But Donald said, he said, Brother Ishmael, I'm assuming he mean Ishmael Muhammad. He said that we will see them. I'm thinking he mean the planes or the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Brother Minister, okay, so in fact, he said, Brother Minister Ishmael warned we will see them over the major cities of America soon. But he also mentioned that troops on the streets. But that's ICE, right?
What are you talking about? Troops on the streets?
Mm-hmm. That's ICE, right? Now they say they sending out some of the damn soldier. I don't know what branch, but the United States government is sending our military people on the streets because these ICE protesters, they are getting out of hand. They're shooting at ICE, acting a down fool, causing all kind of disturbances, and they are now sending the military out to deal with these people. So are we going to see more military out on the street? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We will. I believe that it's going to be so bad the streets going to be running with blood. I believe it's going to be just that bad. Streets are going to be running with blood.
So do you think that they're using this immigration as a way to have troops on the ground? As a way to have more control over the American people, especially with this Israeli shit. So, do you think that they're planning something more sinister but using immigration?
Yeah, I believe so, because I think Trump's ultimate goal is to be able to get everybody that's not white the hell out this country, especially if you're not America first. I think that is his main thing. We can look at the brother, and I was telling a coworker this earlier today when she asked me about it. There was this brother, black guy, whose father became an American citizen through serving in the military. When the father died, the son got deported. Now, the son, quote unquote, is American citizen. He was born here. This is the only country he knew. But they deported his ass to Jamaica, where he ain't never been. His father was from Jamaica, and that was it. He don't even know nobody in Jamaica. But they deported him, American citizen, to Jamaica. And so with this coming, it's going to get even tougher. Because now this port is it's making he's making a statement that your little green card don't work for you, your naturalized citizenship don't work for you. If you not and I would even say eventually he'll get to no matter whether you were your ancestors were slaves or not. If we want you gone, if you don't fit this American image, then we getting you the hell out of here too.
Damn.
So how this thing gonna go, where this thing gonna go is very interesting. But
people ain't going for that. People ain't going for that shit.
Nope. So it's gonna be blood.
They're sending immigrants here, there, every fucking where. They be like, we don't care whether we send your ass back home or not. We just getting you the fuck up out of here. Sending these people to countries that they've never been to. And you know, even with emancipation, I was reading about Abraham Lincoln and during his administration, and he was a proponent of gradual emancipation and also immigration to Africa. And you have a lot of people in Congress throughout the years, even people today, they'll tell you, like I was reading about Elizabeth Eckford, one of the Little Rock Nine, the teenager who she was at the corner of the school by herself with the historical picture of Hazel. I forgot Hazel's last name, but Hazel was, screaming all kind of shit at Elizabeth. And so the little white girl, she was saying, go back to Africa. And that's something that you hear these white people say now. So us going back to Africa has always been on their radar. And so if that's the case, they probably going to be trying to ship our ass back over there. We don't know nobody in no goddamn, what the hell, what we going to do over there?
Exactly. We don't know a damn thing about over there.
We don't know shit about Africa. And they don't even fucking like us like that. They don't even fucking like us like that. They don't want us to. They don't like us. If you just ship our ass over to Africa, we are toast.
Hell yeah. No. So that's why I say that it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be fighting in the street, and it's not going to be no let up. There's not going to be no let up. You will be fighting for your very own existence. And, I keep telling myself, well, Trump only has, 2-3 more years left.
That's it.
But this dude talking like he going to be there forever.
Exactly.
And it's like, how the hell you going to do that? So.
No. I mean, like, damn, he only got literally like a few years. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. But they have military on the street now, and they taking orders directly from the United States government. And this is going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. And you're saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
When you see them, because Trump already said that the Muslim in New York, Mandani, that they were coming to arrest him. If that happens, if Trump make his word bond and go and arrest him, and this guy actually wins his election to be the mayor of New York, then I believe that there will be an overnight insurrection. I really believe it will be an overnight insurrection if that happens.
They're just destroying this country.
Minister Farrakhan said that Trump will take America to hell on a rocket ship.
That's what Minister Farrakhan said.
That's what he said. Yep.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Exactly.
They're just all over the place. It's just too much going on top of the shit that's already going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-mm.
So we are at 52.
52. Yeah.
Um, so why are the nations angry? The 52 is hell erupts. Why are
Mm-hmm.
the nations angry? Who are the nations that are angry at the resurrection of the dead? The 18th verse of the 11th chapter of Revelation in the Bible plainly teaches us that these nations are angry and mad because of the rise of the dead, and that God Himself was the source of the power behind the resurrection or rise of the mentally dead people, the black man. So, do you think that these white people who are in positions of power in the United States of America are concerned about us awakening? Well, that's a dumbass question because hell yeah, they are.
Exactly.
That's why they keep, like you said, they keep us deaf, dumb, and blind with so much distraction. Because yes, they
Mm-hmm.
fear the rise of a black Messiah. They fear
Mm-hmm.
the rise of a Minister Louis Farrakhan. They fear us waking up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. They do. They sure do. It's a new day. It is literally a new day once that happens. Yeah.
I don't know why I asked that question because I know that they fear
Mm-hmm.
us waking up. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why they try so hard to distract us. He said, it is these slaveholders who have been the real cause of the mental death of the people the revelation relates to as being deprived of justice. God comes to give them justice and to justify them as being equal to their slave masters as human beings. And as you know from the 400 years, as you know from the 400 years of legal slavery and free slavery of the American so called Negroes, they have never been recognized, even as human beings. As one devil says, they are only 3/5 of a human being. 3/5 of a human being. It is true that the history of our treatment by the devil slave master practically made our parents and ourselves less than human beings. And this is why I teach that the main rights we should seek first are human rights. The American so-called Negro fell in love with with his slave master and his slave masters, his children, because of unlike attracting them and their brothers in Africa. Therefore, the manifestation of the enemy, devil, in the resurrection makes the dead to see that which causes them to be mentally dead. Let's take a look at that. He said the American so called Negro fell in love with his slave master and his children. He said because of unlike attracting them and their brothers in Africa. What does that mean?
Because they're unalike. They're not the same. And so, because they're not the same, there's that attracting power between the two. For instance, you can, um, the way America does things, the way white people do things. And so black people see it. Oh, I like the way they do it. I like that. Or let me go and do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
When you've been having your own way of how to get things done for years. But because you see them and you think that their way is better, you think that they are better, the next thing you know, you are abandoning your way to pick up their way. It's another way of saying subverted.
Just like when they send the white missionaries,
Exactly.
they love to send missionaries in whiteface,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing that it's just a matter of time before they got your land and your
Mm-hmm.
children, and now you speaking their damn language,
Exactly.
full of they goddamn vaccines,
Mm-hmm.
tell you you can't plant your indigenous seeds. You have to plant their genetically modified seeds, or they'll kill you and put you in jail. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a missionary in whiteface. I hate to
Mm-hmm.
see white people go to Africa as missionaries. It
Exactly.
never turns out well for African people. So
Never.
he says, in the parable of the donkey who balked upon meeting with the angel, he saw that the burden he had been carrying on his back was false. So, in the resurrection of the mentally dead so called Negro, they are rising to the knowledge of self. This knowledge makes them balk or refuse to continue carrying the slave master as something to worship. This has angered the slave master as the donkey's refusal angered Baal. Baal set up whipping. Baal set about whipping and beating the donkey to force him, as usual, to carry and respect him as his master. This use of force to compel the once slave, the Black Americans, to remain with them, even now, in order to make them members of their society, is only false recognition of the Black American, this lost and now found people of the Black nations of Asia and Africa. This continuous cruelty by their white slave masters inflicted upon the American so called Negro has angered God as the cruelty the Egyptians inflicted upon the Israelites during the time of Pharaoh angered Jehovah. This is a repetition of Israel's history and of Pharaoh's evils in these modern times. The appearance of Jehovah and of Moses, the servant of Jehovah, to announce to Pharaoh the end of Israel's slavery. Pharaoh became angry and went to work and tried to obstruct and bring to naught Jehovah's delivery of Israel through his servant Moses. This brought Pharaoh to his end, and he and his army were cast into the Red Sea because they tried to prevent the freeing of Israel by their God Jehovah. The angry nations refer to white America and Europeans who are also enslavers of the black man. Take, for instance, the part that England, Belgium, Germany, France, and Italy have all played in the enslavement of Black Africans and Black people throughout Africa, Asia, and here in the Americas, North and South America. There is no such thing in the nature of white people as justice and freedom for Black people, especially not for Blacks in the Western Hemisphere. Now, their anger is running them mad and they are attacking and killing each other. There is no such thing as peace among us, nor can they produce peace for others. The Holy Quran refers to this condition as the kindling up of hell. That's in chapter 81, verse 12. Never before have you witnessed the evil that is preaching far and wide every hour of the day in America and Europe. England and America being not the first, but the chief slave makers of Black people. They dislike the idea of having Allah dispose of their power over the Negro, though they knew this was coming, the loss of their slaves. This is the time of the increase of knowledge. God has given the Black man of America more light into this increase of divine knowledge than any blacks elsewhere because he chose to make for himself a great nation out of the former slaves of America. White America is angry at God for resurrecting the black slaves into the knowledge of self and his slave master. This means that they are entering into a war with Almighty God Allah to try to oppose the truth of God preached by the messenger of God. Read Second Psalms.
Mm, mm,
So
mm,
what I did think about when he talks about, he said there is no such thing in the nature of white people as justice and freedom for black people. You know, a lot of these immigrants that's coming to America, Asian,
mhm,
Hispanic, Hispanic still being European, the
mhm, mhm.
crimes that these people are committing sometimes I think is even worse than white folks.
Mm. Why you say that?
Because I'm constantly reading arrest reports.
Mm,
I read the arrest reports on a daily basis, and these Hispanics that's coming into this country, scum. They just scum. They just scum. I'm telling you. If they are able to continue to multiply in this country, it's gonna be real bad.
mm,
It's gonna be real bad. They may not be trying to enslave us, but they damn sure gonna put us in a chokehold. Did you
mm,
see that it was a guy, he had been deported before. Just recently, they stopped his truck. I think it was sometime this week, if I'm not mistaken. 700 pounds of meth. He hid it in boxes of cucumbers, and he was headed to Gainesville in Atlanta.
mm.
700 pounds of methamphetamine. It's all tucked away in damn cucumber boxes in a big ass truck on their way to Atlanta and Gainesville, Florida.
Mm.
And it seemed like a lot of these people that they're stopping are felons, sex predators, crimes against children, grand theft, a lot of domestic violence. Um, it's just really a lot going on. And it's really sad that, especially in the Christian church, they're not telling their congregation to prepare for the worst.
Right.
They so busy preaching about Noah and the damn rainbow and just dumb shit that you hear about every Sunday. But our people really got to get ready
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know who we living with. We are
No.
living, they got stash houses of these smugglers. They have houses in pretty much every community throughout the United States where they're stashing human beings. We don't even know who we living next to.
Mm. Mm.
Terrorists.
Mm.
They just pulled some terrorists from a community, and the guy was saying, "Damn, I live right down the street." Yeah, but they
Mm.
all over.
Exactly.
They all over. And then
Mm.
the damn threat of the sleeper cells.
Right.
How low can we go? How much more can we take? We are living in close proximity to these people. And I really feel like now in reading this book, I really do feel like we stuck between a rock and a hard place. Remember, Elijah Muhammad said, everybody got their teeth in us.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody have their teeth in us. And
Mm-hmm.
everywhere we look, no, I don't give a damn if it's north, south, east, or west, we are surrounded by people who hate us.
Exactly.
We're
Yep.
surrounded by other ethnic groups who fucking hate us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And America got their foot on our neck.
That's right. That is right.
And he said, it ain't no such thing. There's no such thing in the nature of white people as justice and freedom for us. He said,
Mm.
not in this Western hemisphere.
Mm.
Not for us, it's not.
Right.
He said, but now their anger is running them mad, and they are attacking and killing each other.
Mm.
Ain't no such thing as peace among them, and nor can they produce peace for. You see that he say, "Hey, there's no justice for us. There will be no peace among them, and they can't even produce. How the fuck is gonna be peace in the Middle East, and y'all ain't got peace among y'all goddamn self right here in this country?"
Exactly.
Look at Congress. I've never seen Congress act this damn ratchet before. Have you?
No. Mm-mm.
Congress is out of control. They talking about get up, let's go outside and fight. Really? Like, let's fight now.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all gonna fight on the congressional floor? You got women in Congress saying, let's take this shit outside.
Mm-hmm.
They pulling up on their ass in the woman's bathroom to fight.
Mm.
But you
Mm-mm.
want peace in the goddamn Middle East, but there's no peace on the congressional floor.
Exactly.
And damn sure no peace for us.
Mm-mm.
I've never seen this Congress act so damn ignorant.
Nope.
It's just
Never.
ignorant.
Never.
What you think about the black girl? What's her name? I forgot.
Crockett.
What you think about Jasmine Crockett?
You know, I think she needs to stop it. If from what I understand her, where how she came, you know, middle class family or well off family, but you know, thinking that the ratchetness, the way you talk and trying to be black, that's just not the way. Put your ass together, put your head together, and come up with some sensible bills that's going to serve your people. All this time that you've been there, what have you produced? You haven't produced anything good for your people. But because it's catchy sound bites, because you're feeding the ignorant, You're doing and saying these things that may sound good, may sound funny, but at the end of the day, you're not producing nothing for your people. It's not helping your people. It's not freeing your people. So you're really wasting time. And, so I think she would do better by stop with the foolishness and stick to business and try to come up with something that way, which will prove that you're better than any of these other political heads from the Republican side or the Democrat side.
Mm-hmm.
But getting caught up in the name calling and la, 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 that ain't producing a damn thing. That may be feel good for the ignorant, but you're not producing for your people. And you are sent there to produce. So I would suggest that Sister Crockett get together and start producing.
Why do you think what do you think is causing Congress to act so juvenile in these days and times?
Because the mask is off. See, they used to have to wear a mask, but the mask is off now. Trump don't wear no mask. You get what you get. And so now they're saying, yeah, if he ain't gonna wear no mask, I ain't gonna wear no mask. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. And so white folks rejoice in that because the level of civility is gone. It's gone. And it ain't coming back. And me, honestly, I appreciate that it's gone because I want them to say exactly how they feel. I want them. I can respect them for that. But I can't respect you talk nice to us in our face, but stabbing us in our back. No, be the same person you are, whether you're in private or in public. Say how you feel, because trust and believe. I'm going to say how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bring it the way it need to be brought for our people. Because why are we wearing this mask of civility that at the end of the day don't get shit accomplished? It was nothing but a trick to keep our people stupid and ignorant, thinking that one side is better than the other, when at the end of the day, both of them are bad for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be able to see that, understand that, and now come up with something that will give us what we need. And that's just straight talk. We need to be able to call it as we see it. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. It is what it is. If Trump can say, I am your justice to white folks, he can say, I am your retribution, then damn it, we should be able to get up there and say, I am your justice. I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Shit, I'm your reparations. We're going to take this shit over and do it our way and fuck everybody else. We need to be able to be just like that. Meet them where they are. It's a battlefield. Meet them where they are. Don't believe in that bullshit of they go low, we go high. Fuck that. That shit don't work. I ain't playing that game. Let's meet you where you are on the battlefield and see which one survives. That's where it needs to be. That's where it has to be. And when our people see that and hear that, yeah, you'll get the ones that want to simmer everybody down. Stop, 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 stop. But they can't simmer down that fire in the street that's going to come from that everyday black person who know exactly what you're saying, who feel exactly what you're saying, and will ride with you exactly the way you're saying. Because now they understand we want power to determine our own way. We've been directed, we've been pushed, we've been pulled, we've been plotted on. Now it's time to say enough is enough. Fuck them. Enough is enough. Let's be black first.
So that was something I was thinking about earlier today, something that Donald Muhammad said. He said Farrakhan said that Trump will be the last president. That has been a buzz lately.
Mm-hmm.
That Trump will be the last president. Can you speak on that? And like, where is that coming from?
Well, on that, the minister has more knowledge than I do. I can only see Trump being the last president if he's going to stay in office beyond his expiration date, or America is going to get into that end of all wars during his presidency.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Because if there's a war, typically that president will stay, correct?
no,
After his term is over?
no, because whether there's a war or not, he can only serve 8 years. Now, unless it is declared a state of emergencies and we cannot have an election,
Right.
Then he would stay on. That means it would have to be, like an insurrection inside America while America is fighting that and fighting a war on foreign soil. Then, canceling the elections. Yeah, because the shit, you're in the midst of a fight on both fronts. So there wouldn't be no election going on at all.
There's a book also. There's a book. And a lot of information in that book is happening right now in real time.
Mm-hmm.
To my understanding. And they were saying something about character in the book was Byron. I think Byron or Baron or something like that. And his son, that's his son's name.
Right. Byron.
And in the book, in the book they were saying that Trump would be the last president. But it's not like, to me, I don't look at it as though they're prophesying. I look at it as though this is a part of their agenda that they've been planning for a very long time. What's that guy named? Adam Weishaupt or something like that? He wrote an agenda, I think, in the 1700s, and they said, we know that it's going to take a very long time for this to unfold and manifest itself, but we got time. And it seems like, and I'm not going to say it seems like, but based upon what I've heard, read, research, is that they put presidents and other people in positions to bring about that agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're prophesying that he would be the last president. If he is the last president, that's been planned a very long time ago, because they want to dominate. They want. Do you believe in that these people want a one world government?
Yes, I do believe that they would like that, because it would be so much easier, because they're all would be under one government, which means that all laws come from this one government. Mm-hmm. And so, everybody would have to follow that one law, mm-hmm. versus, so many different laws coming out of this country, coming out of that country. Uh-huh. And it's hard to maintain. It's hard to control. So like in Britain, there's a law where if, I walked up to a white person and called him a cracker, I can go to jail for that. Mm. That's a jailable offense in Britain.
Wow. In Great Britain right now.
And right now, it is a jailable offense.
Damn.
But in America, you could say that and you ain't gonna go to jail.
You might get fired.
Yeah, you might get fired, but you ain't going to jail. Now, in Germany, it's against the law to say the Holocaust didn't happen. You will go to jail.
Damn.
If you say that. In America, you can say the Holocaust didn't happen. You ain't gonna go to jail. So the laws vary. And for control, you need them all to be the same thing.
So that means that they're going to have to overthrow these governments and kill their leaders to bring that to pass, correct?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's why we see they work so hard to kill these people.
Mm-hmm.
And make people fall in love with America, not knowing that these goddamn, and you know what somebody was saying the other day? They say, no, I think it was an illegal immigrant said, we don't fucking love America. We just love the opportunity and the money that's here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We don't fuck about y'all like that.
Exactly.
We love the money and the opportunity here. We don't give a fuck about America. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's that. That is the raw truth of it. That is the raw truth. America, and I was thinking about today, all of these illegals that came here, America did something to their countries to fuck it up,
Uh-huh.
to
Mm-hmm.
make it worse than what it was. America's hands is in there. And these people know it. They know it. And in their hearts of heart, they don't have no love for no America. If anything in their heart is revenge after they have done to them, it's revenge. If I can't get mine, then fuck it, you ain't gonna get yours. And see, and this is a situation where it's real because this happens in real time. I don't know no other people besides Black Americans that can sit back and say, well, yeah, they did fuck us over back then, but that's back then. Other people say, yeah, motherfucker, I ain't never forgot what you did, and I won't get your ass. I don't give a fuck if it's my last breath, but I'm gonna get you. We the only people that talking about something, oh, well, let's just forgive and forget and get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. We have to stop that. Even the Japanese, they never forgot that they got bombed twice, and they protesting over in Japanese to get in Japan to get the Americans out.
Mm.
Yeah, even in Mexico, I think Brother Donald sent me where down there in Mexico, the citizens are finding white Americans to beat their ass and to whoop their ass because gentrification
Wait a minute, where is that again?
in Mexico.
Yes. They beat it.
Yeah.
I say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them up.
Exactly.
Goody for the ass.
Yep. Yep.
They're gonna taste the rainbow. It's time.
Exactly.
It is
Mm-hmm.
time. I don't feel sorry for these people.
Mm-mm.
I don't sympathize with them. I'm not sending in no donations. You know, Chris Brown paid for a few funerals for the Texas flood victims. I don't know if he paid for, because there were two black guys I saw who did die
Mm-hmm.
as a result. But I don't know if he paid for their funerals or did he pay for white people's funerals. I don't know. But I know he did pay for three funerals.
Mm.
But they get nothing from me.
No.
No money, no tears, no
Mm-mm.
RIPs. They get nothing from me because um my mind has been my I just I just felt like I had no more life inside of me because my head was filled with violent memories of the things that they did to us. And even
Mm-hmm.
like I did a reading on my channel of a book that was gifted to me. And on the cover of the book, there are thousands of people who have gathered for a lynching.
Mm.
Thousands, thousands,
Mm.
thousands of white people would. Do you know how scary that has to be
Mm. Mm.
for an angry white mob to get a hold of you? And there's
Mm.
thousands of them, and only maybe one or two of you. It's nowhere to run. It's nowhere to hide.
No. No, it's not.
And you know by the time that crowd disperse, your ass gonna be dead. And
Exactly.
these people, there's one particular brother, when they set him on fire and they would sit and listen to him scream, they would
Mm.
raise him up and give him some relief. Laugh at him, spit at him, curse him out, and then
Mm.
drop his ass right back in the fire.
Mm.
And so they just kept lifting him out the fire and dropping his ass back in as he
Mm.
screamed in pain and torture until he died. And that was their sport for the night. And there were thousands. As a matter of fact, there was a sheriff. There was a sheriff. This particular sheriff was working in cahoots with Henry Flagler. Henry Flagler, he used to be an oil tycoon, but he left the oil industry and he began to build the railroad system throughout the United States. And that's where you get your convict leasing. So not only was sharecropping slavery by another name, but convict leasing to help build their
Mhm.
railroad system. That was slavery by another name as well.
Exactly.
And so they were working with law enforcement. Literally, you spit on the ground, jail. You black, you don't have a job, jail. You
Mm.
black, you look at a white man the wrong way, jail. You don't
Mm.
take your hat off and bow, and when a white man crosses the sidewalk, jail. Like they made all these codes and laws to enslave us just to build their railroad system. And this particular white man, who I don't know what you call that position, but he had the top position in the jail. And he was a big white man. He was like 6'5", 6'6", big, 300 some pounds. That cracker was big.
Mm.
And he would get paid for every lynching that took place at that prison. He literally would get paid extra. So it was beneficial to him financially to lynch people,
Right.
because I get some extra money on my paycheck.
Exactly.
And
Mm.
you know just
Mm.
stories like that I come across different realities from my research, and it just weighed so heavy on me this week that I had no more to give. And
Mhm.
I just kept thinking to myself, how do I turn my brain off? How do I turn my brain off? Because every time I try to read another page, it gets worse and worse.
Right.
Like I know that our sisters was being assaulted by the slave master, but even with their massacres, when there are many massacres that took place in the United States, and during those massacres, white men would even take time to sexually assault women.
Mm. 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 Mm.
You got they had time.
Mm. That's bad.
No, my anger can't let me cry for these people.
I was listening to one of your videos, and you were talking about how much disease that once the slaves were finally going to the doctor, that they discovered, the syphilis and all of this stuff. They got that from being forced to have sex with that cracker. And just the reality of that settling down, that not only were you pure before the cracker, but he defiled you in each and every way. And now you're walking around with the defilement on the inside. And you've been doing that for years until you finally got to see a doctor. That's bad.
And there was no cure. I mean, I don't know if they had a cure at that time. You messed around and got syphilis during those days, you died.
Mm.
Because they were giving them people mercury,
Mm.
literally mercury. And that was making, they didn't know what to give them. They
Mm.
were succumbing to that shit, babies and all. Can you imagine how many babies was born with that shit?
Mm. Wow.
We've been through a lot.
We really have.
We have been through a lot. And that is why I asked a question the other day on your channel. I was like, because once again, there are a lot of people who blame the education system. I do understand that the education system has its faults. Don't get me wrong, but the education system here in the United States was not set up for us to begin with. In this racist society that we live in, we cannot think that they were going to open up an educational system to, help us progress, because they don't want us to progress.
Right.
But I always say, and I do hold that parents are first teachers. And I understand that back then it was different because it was against the law for us to read or write. I get that. But what excuse do we have now? And so if we can get parents to understand that as first teachers, they have a responsibility to teach their children, especially their history, their culture, their traditions, But we don't know it. But I'm just saying that's our responsibility to do that. We cannot rely on the enemy to teach us our history. That is our responsibility. But at the same time, that's what I was asking on your channel over the weekend. What about the church? How many times do we need to pick up the Bible and hear the same chapters and scriptures over and over and over again? Can we put some of the burden on the church? Like, can the church put down the Bible and pick up Miseducation of the Negro? Can the church put down the Bible and pick Up from Slavery by Booker T. Washington? Can they put that shit down and pick up Marcus Garvey, his speeches? Can they put that shit down and pick up Fall of America? Can they put it down and pick up the autobiography of Malcolm X, or Revolutionary Suicide, or Souls on Ice by Bobby Seale? Like, what the fuck? But you know what we do? We take it back and we say, it's the fucking educational system. I hate when Black people say that, especially because it's not just the education system. This shit is all around us. For me, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about no Bible. The church needs to pick up some history books and start teaching from a different perspective, because it's not just the parents. We are all at fault. We are all at blame in this shit. We all in this shit together. And yeah, we got a lot, we have a lot to learn. And it's not just the educational system. It's other facets of society as well. What about these goddamn fraternities and sororities? Are they not responsible? We not gonna hold them responsible?
Yep, I believe we should, but the church will never put down the Bible and pick up those books that you recommended to read, because those books operate outside of the bounds of slavery, meaning that the Bible works to keep you, or how they use it works to keep you enslaved. You start focusing on something else that's meant to inform you and that you can make a logical decision, then you begin to refocus on what you're talking about. And I'll give you an example. I was at a church one year, and it was the Black History program. And I spoke before the minister got up there to do her sermon for the day. But when I said that you, Black people, you are the people of God, it's talking about you in that Bible. Ain't no white folks. It's talking about you. And it messed her mind up so much that, because she came on right after me, and she was just fumbling over her words. And, she literally said, I got to give me a minute to get myself together, because what Brother Maurice just said kind of, got me discombobulated. Because even with her in her older age, she's up there, I guess she probably in her 60s, mid 60s, going on 70s. But that simple truth of us being the people of God, of us actually being in the Bible and God calling us his own, that operates outside the Christianity faith that they know. And so when she heard it, it messed her mind up. Now, if she was looking at the rest of the people, they were able to eat what I was giving them without a problem. But she had a problem with it. And it caught her off guard, and she was stumbling. So for the church to pick up those books, it's not going to happen. It's just not.
But we not so. But wait. Okay, let me tell you something. That's still not the answer. So what? They not gonna drop the Bible and pick up the book. People should still be pointing fingers at them the same way they point fingers at the educational system. What's the difference? The education system not gonna do it. The church not gonna do it. This is about pointing fucking fingers, is what I'm talking about. Black people passing the blame, pointing fingers, when the reality is the first fucking teacher is the goddamn parents. Period. I'm sick of black people pointing fingers at the educational system. It wasn't set up for your motherfucking ass. If it wasn't set the fuck up for you, then why do black people think that they bear the responsibility of teaching you about your goddamn self? These parents can pick up every fucking thing else but a book, and we still not pointing the fingers at the parents. I don't understand. They could pick up a cell phone. They could register for goddamn Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all kind of shit. Motherfuckers, you can't even go to the gym now without people bringing in a goddamn camera to record themselves. Everybody want to say education is the problem. No, the problem is self. Self. People better wake the fuck up and start I didn't pass blame on nobody. I was trying to figure out what the fuck was wrong with me. That's how I began to elevate. What the fuck is wrong with me? And I realized I had been lied to. And when I realized that I had been lied to, I went and I started searching for the truth. I didn't blame nobody. I blame myself. And I believe that's why I elevated so quickly. I didn't blame my mama who's still in that shit. I didn't blame my daddy who's still in that shit. All them pastors that got my tithe and offering. I blame me. You know why I blame myself? Because I believe what the fuck they told me without investigating it.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't pointing no fingers at nobody. I am so sick of when I hear black people blame the educational system, I just shut all the way down because they playing the blame game and I don't like that. I blamed myself for believing what the fuck these people told me without investigating it. When I was a child, I get it. But I was a grown goddamn woman still believing in that shit and I wasn't investigating and doing any research. And I was dying inside. And I said, girl, you better pick up some goddamn books and read it and see what the fuck going on because this shit ain't working. And that's how I began to discover the truth. I blame myself. I ain't passed no blame on to nobody else. So,
I agree. But I think the problem is our people, the majority of our people believe in the system that they were born in. And so we know, as Malcolm said, that only a fool will allow your enemy to teach your children. But when we look at how many of our children are in these public schools, then we should understand that we see a lot of fools. But they believe in the system. So when Trump says, I'm going to cancel the Department of Education, then a lot of people start to holler and scream, what we going to do? What we going to do? We don't have a Department of Education. How are children going to learn? Because you're going to teach them. Or you're going to take them somewhere where somebody's Black is teaching them. They have to see and understand that their Pharaoh will do nothing for them. Will do nothing for them. But as long as they believe in the system and believes that, hey, this system can get better because it's the only system they know, because it is exactly the trap that they were born into to produce exactly what we have right now. It ain't by accident, it is by design. This was already planned to be the way that it is. We just walk right on into it, right off, as they say, right off the paper, right into the main street, because it was planned to be this way. So as you say, yeah, The parents have a problem. The parents are part of the problem. The school is a part of the problem. The church is a part of the problem. But the school, the church, the school, and the parents are all a part of the same system. They're all a part of the same system that the people within inside that system still believe in, still put faith in, still walk in, and still love in. All of it. And all of it is designed with one main aim, which is to keep us subservient to white folks. Now, when we, and I've suggested this before, when we, meaning the quote unquote radicals, when we get strong enough and understand our role and responsibility, then I say that we should go to the church and have a meeting with the pastor and tell him that, hey, this slave-making religion that you're teaching is nothing but poison for our people, and it's time for you to stop it. It's time for you to quit. We're gonna shut this shit down because there's no more of that service going on in here. That's taking charge of our community. And that taking charge is what we need. And we need it in a drastic way. Now, I think it was New Era Detroit. I believe it was them. It was one of these either New Era Detroit or Chicago or something like that. They went up inside the church and did just that, except they did it during church service. But the dude that went in there got turned right back out because they kicked him right out of the church service. So he didn't do it the right way. Mm-hmm. I applaud his effort, but he didn't do it the right way. We have to move with strength. We have to literally make them afraid of us. And now I know the last time I said that on the Sunday program, some of one of our panelists disagreed that we should make our people fear us, but we should. Because white folks use fear and made them good niggas. Now, we can use that same fear and turn them into good black people. And then they won't be fearing us from that perspective, but they'll be well able to follow and understand why this is necessary. We're going to have to use force. We're going to have to be able to say what we say, mean what we say, and back it up to the nth degree in order to produce the change that is necessary. We have to have strong law. That's something that I'm a real advocate of, and it's something that I believe in, and it's something once we get that strong, we're definitely going to carry it out. We're going to carry it out because it's for the betterment of our people, and that's what has to be done.
Let me see if you remember before we go to chapter 53. Whose mother? It was in this study. Okay, you better have the right answer because I'm gonna ride you if you don't.
Lord have mercy.
No, I know you're gonna remember because you got a good memory. Okay, so this is the Fall of America book study trivia, and you better get this right, okay, before you embarrass us. Whose mother was killed? This person's mother. She was a Christian, and she was killed in church while she was
Martin Luther King's mom.
Yeah. That boy went in there and shot his damn mama down to the ground. He said, I can't stand them goddamn Christians. He said, y'all, that the man who shot the young man who shot his mother, he hated Christians. He said, y'all, the reason why we are being brutalized by these white people. He hated Christians. He said, if we could just get rid of these goddamn Christians.
Yep.
our situation would change. And he went in that church looking for the dad, but killed them all.
Mm-hmm.
Hated Christians.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we really gonna start pointing some fingers to point them right,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because we have a lot of things that we need to change. And so far as the educational system, it was not set up for us to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we supposed to bring about effective change, change the mindset, really teach what we want to teach in a public institution that was not set up for us to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
That's the shit I don't understand.
Exactly.
You go into the institution that was set up to promote white supremacy and ask them to change for you?
Mm-mm.
That shit don't make no sense. You already know that's not gonna happen. The same people that's blaming these educational systems, where's they damn Black History tutoring center?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have Black History channels on YouTube? Do they have Black History coloring books and cards and stuff like that? Like, I don't like people to point fingers. I don't like that. Because when you point, like they said, when you point one finger, you got something coming back at you.
Mm-hmm.
So if all people are gonna do is pass the blame, and it's like, well, what are you doing? You got to be action based. What are you doing?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So we got to stop blaming. Got to stop blaming. But we on chapter 53. We're gonna close it on out.
All right.
The Great Commotion. The Great Commotion of the government and people of America, the civil unrest, insurrection, mental excitement, and noise confusion. There is no action that is being taken, nor can there by any action taken that would bring the people to a better condition of civil action. That went over my head. He said, a great commotion of the government and people of America, civil unrest, insurrection, mental excitement, and noise confusion. There is no action that is being taken, nor can there by any action taken that will bring the people to a better condition of civil action.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is not registering this tonight. I'm telling you, it's been rough.
Basically, what he's talking about, um, that there's action, people out there in the street protesting, la 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 la. You got the KKK protesting against the civil rights workers, and none of that is going to be a better condition of civil action, of your being able to civilize and be as one, quote unquote, humanity to
Mm-hmm.
each other. It's never going to happen. There
Mm-hmm.
will always be those two against us, because white folks are our natural enemy. So
Mm-hmm.
there's never going to be no civilizing them where we're all sitting at the table, kumbaya, kicking it back, like,
Yeah.
yeah, we all equal Americans now. That's never going to happen.
So that's just like these anarchists now who are shooting at ICE.
Right.
And I was saying to myself, these are the same people that go to the Black Lives Matter protests and tear shit up.
Mm-hmm.
They say some of those protests were peaceful
Mm-hmm.
until the goddamn white people came and started burning shit down.
Mm-hmm.
And then black people start turning up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Have you ever heard about that?
Yeah, it is very true. And and I've told black people before that when you're dealing with them, don't join them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't join the anarchists. They come in to do damage. Let them. You move out the fucking way and let them destroy whatever it is that they're going to destroy, and let them fight white folks. Let it be white folks fighting white folks. You turn away, you shouldn't even be out there protesting. Let them tear the shit down. Let them burn the shit up. Let Antifa do whatever the hell that they want to do. Let them ride till the sun go down, till the sun come right back up. You stay out of it.
Can you please explain what Antifa is? What is Antifa?
Antifa is an organization that is against fascism. They want that to be true freedom, justice, and equality for all.
For
Um,
all, for everybody.
for everybody. Yeah. They don't want the capitalistic system. They want everybody to have what they need, according to what's going on in their household. So if you're a family and you got 10 children, then you need a house big enough for you and your 10 children. Then you need a car or two cars to transport and do what you and your 10 children need to get done. That's their thing.
But
I don't.
nobody's stopping people from getting a house to accommodate their needs and wants. Are you saying that Antifa is saying, okay, you got 10 kids, so it's going to be the government's responsibility to give that to you? Or are you saying you get what you need because you work hard for it?
They believe in socialism, so their thinking is that because the government is established and the government is making money, then the government should be able to take care of its people. They don't believe in capitalism whatsoever. They think capitalism is the destruction of human beings because the greed and American greed is so strong where you'll have the rich, doing things to the poor just to keep them poor. So Antifa thinks in that manner. And, I don't disagree with everything Antifa is about. I just tell our people that we don't need to join them. But when they tearing up shit, burning shit, turn a blind eye and let them do what the fuck they came to do. Because you can peaceful protest all fucking day long and ain't shit gonna change.
Right.
And Tifa understands that you gotta break shit. You gotta kill motherfuckers. You gotta break some eggs to get some change. They understand that. And they are willing to do that. So black people, since you ain't willing to do that, leave them alone and let them do what they do. Let them operate.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So they support civil unrest to bring about their ideas about how government should function, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
So they were heavily armed too.
Mm-hmm.
They said they had equipment, the clothing, the
Mm-hmm.
shoes.
Mm-hmm.
They said they had some shit up under their sleeve.
Look here, Antifa, they move strategically when they go to protest, and they come up, a night before, 2 nights before, and set their stuff all out there on the battlefield. So when they get there, they're ready. They know that they coming to start some shit. They coming to fuck police up. They coming to destroy buildings, and they be at it. And you look at some of these riots that been taken on against them and the police. They've been whooping the police ass, hitting them with frozen soda bottles and everything.
What? Not the frozen soda bottle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They come to fight. They ain't joking. They come to fight. And so, I say, hell, get out the way and let them fight. Let them tear their ass up.
So they like bittersweet. What? Well, we gotta look at Antifa one day. You gotta teach on that. I didn't know they be turned up like that.
Oh yeah, they do. They do. I respect Antifa.
What?
I really do. Yeah, I respect them. Yeah, I would never join them, but I damn sure respect them.
But don't the United States government knows who they are?
They know some of them. They don't know all of them. They don't know all of them. They know some of them. They don't know all of them. If they knew all of them, then they ass would be over with by now. They'd have been locked up and thrown away to keep. But they're just like the Weather Underground, where it was the Weather Underground who broke into the FBI office and came up and found the COINTEL program and the one that let that shit out. It was them, the Weather Underground people. It was the same Weather Underground people that was blowing shit up back in the day. So, it's like I always say, we move the fuck out the way and let them kill their own. Blow them motherfuckers the fuck up.
Ooh.
We can stay out of it. It's their fight. Let them handle it. They doing good at it.
So wait a minute, because Donald say that basically, like he said, I always looked at Antifa as George Soros, etc., finance group hiding behind and attaching themselves to our struggles to promote their own agenda. And that's what I was thinking earlier today. Like they were hiding behind Black Lives Matter, but they didn't give a damn about Black people and our struggle. And basically, what I'm learning tonight is that they attach themselves to it to promote their own agenda because they
Mm-hmm.
be tearing shit up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, where in the fuck all these white people come from? They've
Mm-hmm.
been killing us.
Mm-hmm.
They've
Exactly.
been killing us. And
Exactly.
now all of a sudden, y'all all in the street and shit on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Yeah.
attaching themselves to our agenda. I mean, attaching to our struggles to promote their fucking agenda.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that's a smart move. America done it as well. That's what America does.
Really?
Because it enables you to move among the populace because they think that you're supporting them.
Damn.
That's why. So it's a smart move. It is not dumb. It's a very smart move. And there will come a point when we get into our battles where though we have to be able to do the same damn thing. We'll have to be able to move in between the mix. It's just like the the Scientology, right? L.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Hubbard. This motherfucker, what did L. Ron Hubbard do? He sent his people to go into the FBI, into the tax office, and become them. Read the files and let them know what the hell's that the government is trying to do
What?
against him. Yeah, this is the shit that you gotta do. That's why this is warfare.
Lord have
This
mercy.
is what you gotta do.
We in a real fucked up situation.
Hell yeah. But this is what you have to do. You gotta be able to send your people among them so that they can fit in and not be seen, but they can get all that information that they need and send it right back home.
But
Now,
then
all this time, the FBI and the IRS trying to come after Ron Hubbard and his people in there getting all the goddamn information and taking it right back to Ron so they know how to move so they don't get caught. This warfare. This is warfare. This is real. And
but
this
did,
is how we have to begin to act.
but didn't the Scientologists link up with the nation at some point?
Yeah, they did because the minister wanted us to learn how to do auditing. He didn't want us to be Scientologists. He wanted us to learn how to do the process of auditing. And once we learn that, then we got the things that we need. Then we go out there and teach it to our people, help our people.
But why did he want to learn it from the Scientologists and not just send the people to college or school or have an auditor come in and teach them how to do it in the nation?
Because there's no that at least that I know of that does auditing. I don't know of a college that teaches it. But I know the FBI uses it, the police use it, the military use it. But I don't know of a school that teaches it.
So the Scientologists, they learned how to do auditing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. For the purpose of what?
To help you remember, to help you unlock mental episodes in your mind that's messed up, that you need to have clear so that you can see your way through.
I thought you meant auditing like at a corporation where you got to audit. Oh, you talking about something different.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Auditing is what now? What is it again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a mental thing where they help you go back and remember incidents that you had locked away in your mind, things that you had trouble with mentally. And, it's a process that they take you through to help you unlock it. And once you got it unlocked, then, for the most part, 9 times out of 10, you're in a much better place mentally. The FBI uses it when things happen and agents have to remember this or have to remember that, and they can't quite remember it, and they walk them through this process. They'll walk victims through the process. And the military is used to walk, military people through whatever the process that you got blocked up in your mind. And so, it works. It definitely works. I've been audited, and it did help me as well.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I thought you was talking about like what the corporations do.
No.
I was like, why the fuck they couldn't go to college? I'll be learning all kind of shit with this study. Oh Lord, have mercy. That's why I just wanted to stop thinking. I was like, how can I turn my brain off? I didn't want to think no more. And I just couldn't, and I had to shut me down for a few days.
Exactly.
Ooh, I gotta wake up early in the morning with my trainer. I'm trying to find my way out. I'm trying to I'm out. I don't be lying. I swear I want to go tomorrow. Because he already told me what we doing tomorrow. I'm like, damn. I gotta get out of this one. Just pray for me. So anyway, the great commotion. So he said the white American people have practiced evil and injustice to the man in the mud, the black slave, for so long that they think that there would never be any divine action taken against them for such evil and injustice. But this is what is now affecting. It is the actions of divine justice for the poor man, the black slaves. And that's what I was saying today. They thought that God forgot about us. I think a lot of white people think that God forgot about us. And when they have these floodings, these bombings, when their houses are burning down, when they cry, I don't care. Because they didn't cry for us.
Nope.
They weren't sorry. They didn't have sorrow for us.
Sure
there was no woe is me for us. Pull your ass up by the bootstraps and do what you got to do. How you go bomb a thriving community? They were bombing thriving black communities. And not only that, they were threatening many black communities. We will drop a fucking bomb on you. Get in line, niggas.
Exactly.
Get your ass in line, niggas, or we'll drop a bomb. So a lot of black people, they got in line because the reality was they did not want the United States to drop bombs on them. And so Elijah Muhammad said they have practiced evil and injustice. And he said for so long thinking that there would never be any divine action taken against them. And now little Sarah, they can't find little Sarah. They can't find these little Karens that's still missing with this recent flood and the one in North Carolina. They can't find them. But what about the times when our children went missing? Didn't Robert Williams say that?
Yeah.
When the law enforcement called, they welcomed people to the South. They welcomed white Americans to the South for the purpose of beating up black people. And he said many of the parents were calling him saying, my child is missing. And many of those children never came home. They were missing. He said, but it is the actions of divine justice for the poor man, the black slave, Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, has the power, and he is using his power on the wicked to bring them to their knees. Allah is the greatest, and there is no equal to him. Allah can take us by our own way of thinking and spin us as though we are a play toy. We cannot fight a successful fight against him. He too powerful. He listens in our he listens in on our thinking, and he is capable of making us to think and to do that which he desires to be done. Maybe some of these people will think about what they did, so maybe, just maybe, with their children missing and their child dying, maybe some of these white people will come to think of what it was like for our mothers when they cried out for their child.
Mm-hmm.
Picture the face of Emmett Till's mother. If you've ever seen those historical photos of Emmett Till's mother, now magnify that times all the mothers that lost a child
Mm-hmm.
because of white male rage violence.
Exactly.
The great commotion today is witnessed by the nations of the earth. For it is America whom Allah is after for her treatment of the poor so-called Negro, the lost found original black members of their nation. America mistreated and killed her black once slaves for sport. He ain't lying. They were hunting us down, killing us on Friday night as forms of entertainment. Literally, it was entertainment to pick a nigga to kill on a Friday night. But America's day is drawing to a close, and she will not have the freedom to mistreat the black once slave much longer. As the mistreatment of the Egyptians practiced against Israel came to an end, so will the mistreatment of the black slave by white America. That shit got to come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
America has so blinded and made deaf and dumb the black man in America, her black once slave, that she makes empty promises to the black slave, and he will accept her false promises and forsake the true promises of Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, who is here offering us heaven at once. The great commotion will continue in America until this commotion has destroyed the power of opposition. And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 2053. All this shit gonna stop.
Oh yeah.
And the only thing like I think of when I just read this is that you have a lot of what we call black people come to this country. They don't understand what we've been through. They don't understand what we've been through. They just happy to be here. And I know, as you stated previously, that America is behind the fall of their countries, and that's why they running here. But when they get here, some of these people, they just happy to be here. They don't understand what we've been through. They don't get it. They
No.
need to learn our history as well, so that they too need to understand, okay, well, when you get here, you're not going to celebrate that holiday. When you get here, you're not going to go in that community and spend your money. You know?
Yeah.
But a lot of black people come here and they do not give a damn about the struggle that we have here. Do you think that's because they feel as though we don't understand or care about their struggle in their country?
I think that they don't have a care or time to care about our struggle. I think they are here to accomplish whatever their personal mission is. And that comes first and foremost. Now, once they get here, if they make friends with one of us and they're able to learn, then they'll be able to make a little difference. But their main thing is what they came here for. And if you ask them, none of them came here to be friends. They all came here to accomplish their objectives. So being our friend ain't something that's very high on their to-do list. If it happens, fine. If it doesn't, fine. I just need to accomplish my objective. And see, that's a mission-oriented thinking. And we have to become mission-oriented instead of, worry about who's our friend. Because I find that a lot, even at work, and I hear them talk, you're not being a really good friend. And it's like, yo, did you really come here for that? Did you come here to make friends, or did you come here to work? What did you come here for? You came here to make money? What did you come here for? Because I didn't come here to be friends.
Right.
That's not on my agenda. I'm here to make my money so I can go the fuck back home. Being your friend ain't on my agenda. Being your bosom buddy ain't on my agenda. Coming here to have a conversation with you is not on my agenda. It's nowhere in my thinking. So, miss me with all the foolishness.
But John Henry Clark said we have no friends.
Exactly.
And the more I read The Fall of America, I see how we are outcast.
Mm-hmm.
We are a global outcast.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be God's chosen. Ain't no way around that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have to be.
Mm-hmm.
They hate us. And I'm seeing now some of the trends before we close out. So we already know that these European people, they love to get fillers in their lips.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was little, they used to talk shit about our lips. Soup coolers and shit. We had soup coolers. Lips so goddamn big, we cool a goddamn bowl of soup in 2 seconds. Caricatures, Sambo caricatures with extra large protruding lips. Remember that shit?
Mm-hmm.
And now, what are they doing? Going to get Botox because they want thick, full lips too.
Exactly.
They in the earlier days they would get the little hula hoop dress because we always had something back there, and so they would have the little hula hoop dress to exaggerate their physique to make it seem like they had larger butt. Right. And now they're getting the surgeries to enlarge their butt. And now I'm seeing a lot of white people. I saw so many white people over the weekend with plaits and braids in their hair. And I'm starting to see a lot of Hispanic people with braids in their hair. I say, well, goddamn, everybody want to be black until it's time to be black. They're not even trying to hold that shit in no more. Get your ass done, get your lips done, get your braids and your twists. They're not trying to hide it anymore. They really want to be us.
Exactly.
They want to be us until it's time to be us.
Exactly. That's real right there. That's 1,000.
So once again, thank you very much. We will be on next week again. Thank you, Donald Muhammad. Donald Muhammad was on tonight. Brother got some good information that I would like to hear about. He said from his study, there is reason to believe that L. Ron Hubbard may have come in contact with Master Farad Muhammad at one point in time. He said it's deep. He's asking you, did L. Ron Hubbard come in contact with Master Farad Muhammad? He's asking you that question.
To my knowledge, I haven't came across anything saying that. So I haven't seen that. But if bro got some information on it, I definitely would love to hear about it. Definitely, I would love to hear about it. But I haven't heard anything like that.
All right. So until next time, you have any
Definitely.
closing thoughts?
I definitely appreciate what you have brought to the channel, what you continually to bring to the channel. And I look forward to Tuesday, even though today is Wednesday, but I do look forward to our time that we sit here and go over this program. And none of this stuff it's not like it's pre-planned. We know what chapters we're going to, but I don't know what questions that sister's going to come up with. And I don't even know what's going to come out of my mouth until it actually comes out. So it's definitely a learning lesson. And I'm definitely happy and humbled by the numbers that we got, that people come out. Definitely glad to see Brother Donald, Big Brother Roy. Every time I see Big Brother Roy in there, I know everything's okay. And all those others who have joined us who didn't drop a comment in there. Sean Cooper, we thank you for coming out and participating with us as well. And I'll just say to, everybody, get your mind together, get your households together, because we on this last ride. Well, Brother Downs, I just text you a video, Brother Maurice, on L. Ron Hubbard. Please feel free to share it with our sister. Okay, I will definitely
That's interesting.
That. Mm-hmm. Yep, I got it. And I will send it to sis right now.
Isn't L. Ron Hubbard the one who was found looking like Nebuchadnezzar?
I don't know nothing about that one.
I don't know if that was General Cyrus Sultan said he was teaching about Hubbard, and somebody went into hiding, and when they found him, his hair was all messed up, his fingernails had grown out like an animal. I don't know who said he was teaching. It was either Hubbard or some other white man he was teaching about. I'm definitely gonna watch the video.
Yep, I will too. And so we thank everybody for coming out. Sis, you got any more closing comments?
No, I'm just on cloud nine, child. I'm just on cloud nine right now.
Oh, excellent.
Until next week.
Yes, ma'am. Until next week. All right, family. We thank you all for showing up, and we thank you for supporting, watching the video. Like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't already, subscribe to Sister Mayat's channel as well. And we thank you. And as we always say, you kill the nigger in you, I'm going to kill the nigger in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black First, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
So you better get the message and get it straight. You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that. Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.